My favourite time of day to be in the studio is the morning when the light's just coming through the trees and up over the hill. I'm Lily and I live on the far south coast of New South Wales, and I am an artist primarily working with gouache on paper. A ritual that I have when I come into the studio is usually to tidy everything. I get all my paints away, brushes washed, and I like to have music playing, and I will make a pot of tea or something. I think making work for me is just a necessary part of surviving. It's been a really great way for me to work through life stuff, whether it's mothering or grief or, dealing with bushfires or COVID. Yeah, just a necessary part of being, really. And when I'm not making, I guess I feel like there's something missing. I think over the years, that whole idea of being held by something has inspired my work, whether it be motherhood as a place or the land as, a space that provides imagery for me. In the past, when I've been making work, when I was working inside the house, with kids around me all the time and on me, and my work was really influenced by the shapes of them and me, and now being separate from them and having my own space to create outside of that space, I've kind of shifted toward making work that's much more inspired by the bigger picture and the bigger land that we live on, and the oceans and the lakes that we play on. And my whole family, I guess, inspires the way that I look at the land and have an appreciation for it. Even just being on the beach sometimes, and if I think about it now and I think about the shapes of the beaches that are around here, because we spend so much time in the lake, and the shape of the lake and the shape of the edges of the lake and the oyster palms that are in there, they kind of, I think, make like marks. I guess it's mark making what I'm doing. Maps almost. When I was a kid, we used to draw maps all the time of anywhere that we went. That's definitely something that I still do. Small marks on my work are always, signifying a certain spot, the edge of a lake or something like that. I think smaller works have always been for the client. I think it's more accessible for people to actually buy those works, and I've always wanted my work to be accessible to people. I don't want to be, exclusive in the sense that, people who love it can't actually attain it. I don't want to be that kind of artist. It's actually harder to make bigger works because I find it harder to stop and to not make them too busy. So I like working with gouache. It's kind of like watercolour, but when it is manipulated and thinned out with water, it's a lot less fluid, and so I find it easier to manipulate to do what I want it to do. Becoming a mother, and I've had this conversation with so many creative people and quite independently driven people, creatively, it's really difficult to surrender that when you become a mum. It's wonderful, obviously, we all love it in whichever way, but that surrender to just being in the present and being with those kids, being with your babies and having them on you all the time and not having any you time anymore is a really, really big process. My studio time is precious and limited. I usually lock in time. Most of the time it's at night when the kids are asleep. I've become very good at being able to say no to things and only take on as much as I can achieve. Because the reality is that it's not actually just dreamy days all day in the studio anymore. And I'm really good at thinking about what I'm going to be making in the time that I'm not in the studio, and then when I'm in here it's making. I think getting caught up in it being something that you need to make money from is really hard. It's a really difficult line to walk because, we all need to live and survive and support families. I'm really fortunate that I have another means of making money and providing for our family, but I think in that sense it's been really good that I can just step away from the whole money aspect of it. But when it comes to actually, pulling your finger out and actually doing it and giving it a really good go, I think sticking to yourself and not worrying what other people are doing and what's trending. People understand and can see when work is really authentic, and they appreciate that, and people will want that and want to support that. So sticking with what you really feel good about and what you feel good producing and putting out there to the world is really important.